Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripātamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvaram. Hare Om Tatsat. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Sri Caitanya Caritamrita ki Jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Let's continue our discussion on Sri Caitanya Caritamrita. The instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag. So just to give a recap, we were discussing initially about the first instruction which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave about the rarity to find Krishna Bhakta. We were discussing how wherever you go, whichever part of the world you go, it's very hard to find people with whom you can sit and discuss spiritual topics. Material, mundane topics like sports, movies, politics. You can sit and talk with anyone. Even if you happen to get on a lift, you can talk to people about weather. It's very hot weather. You can talk. Mundane topics we can talk, but spiritual topics you can speak only with those who are a little spiritually inclined, people who are a little spiritual only. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, among all those spiritualists, it's very, very, very rare to find one devotee of Krishna. So initially he established about the rarity of finding a devotee of Krishna. And last week we discussed about the process of cultivating bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service. It's an emotion, it's a relationship, it's a love that we feel within our heart towards Lord Krishna. And we discussed about how we have been taking so many different birds. Many birds we have taken, 8.4 million varieties. Of those 8.4 million varieties are included different species. Plants, animals, reptiles, birds, beasts, so on and so forth. And finally we come to this human form of life. In this human form of life, if we are fortunate to come in contact with our spiritual master or a representative of our spiritual master, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij, which means we have been wandering on this life cycle of birth and death in so many different planets, in so many different births. finally, if we become fortunate, then we get the seed of bhakti. How? Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Guru, a seed of bhakti is sown within our heart. As with any process of growing a plant, after you sow a seed, in order for a seed to be sown on the ground and in order for a seed to fructify into a proper plant, first the ground has to be very fertile. So you sow the seed. So that seed of bhakti is given to us by spiritual master. We are very fortunate to have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada or representatives of Srila Prabhupada. So the seed is sown in our heart. How do we water that seed? By the process of hearing and chanting. And we were discussing how by hearing about Krishna or hearing about Krishna's name, we chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we chant, our tongue is vibrating the holy name and our ears are hearing. These two senses are constantly engaged. By doing this process of chanting Krishna's name and hearing about Krishna's name or Krishna's qualities, Krishna's Leela, the plant or the seed of bhakti slowly gets nourished with this watering. And then it starts to germinate, it starts to grow, and then slowly it goes penetrating this layer of universe, and then it goes and takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And then if we continue to water, then this creeper fructifies at one point. And what is that fruit? That fruit is Krishna Prema. When we have pure love for Krishna, that is when we are said to have attained the ultimate perfection of our life. For that matter, our existence. So we discussed it till that point, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to elaborate on how to protect this plant. So one point we were discussing last week was bhakti is always compared to a creeper. It's not compared to a tree. It is lata. Vriksha is tree. Bhakti, vriksha means it's a tree of bhakti. But here, Guru Krishna Prasadepaya Bhakti Lata Bij only it's given. Bija means seed, Bhakti Lata. Lata means creeper. Why is Bhakti compared to creeper? Just like if you take a normal creeper plant, it always needs a support. It always needs the support of the ground. So our Bhakti, be it in preliminary stage, very rudimentary stage, intermediate stage, or in an advanced stage, it always needs the support. We can never think, I have come to this point when, from this point onwards, I don't need support of anyone. It can never happen like that. Bhakti has to go with association. Bhakti means Goshti Ananda. Goshti means group. A bliss, a happiness which you can experience only in the presence of others. Have you got an experience, especially after migrating to a new country or a new place, where you no longer are in the association with your friends and you have to celebrate your birthday? How many of you have that experience? You will have the cake, you will have the candle, but you will feel, rather than love, loneliness. I used to feel like that when I came to here. Where are my friends? Nobody's here to sing, all right. And you devour on the whole cake. So, bhakti is also love. Bhakti can be experienced for Krishna only in the presence of others. Alone, it's not possible. In fact, Prahlad Maharaj chastises heavily those who has that selfish motive, prayena deva munaya sva vimukti kama. I don't want any attachment, I don't want family, I don't want friends, I'll just go to the forest cave.
sit there and sit in meditation there and simply worry about my own liberation. He says they are just selfish people. I don't want to be like that, my Lord. He says, close it off. He says that bhakti, when it is practiced, it has to be practiced in the association of others. Then there is a reciprocation. Like we are in this assembly, I am speaking something and you are hearing something. I am benefiting by talking about Krishna, and I hope you are also benefiting hearing about Krishna. So bhakti can be practiced only like this. When you look at some other devotee practicing bhakti, you say, okay, that devotee is chanting nicely, that devotee is dancing nicely, that devotee is looking very peaceful. I also want to be peaceful. In this way, by bodhayanta parasparam, Krishna says. Bodhayanta means we talk about Krishna, parasparam means with one another. It's in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, bodhayanta parasparam. Kathayantascha mam nityam. What do they talk about? They talk about katha, pastimes, lila about me. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They feel very satisfied at heart. In fact, they feel very, very blissful. Ramanti means to feel very happy. We all know about the pastimes of Krishna. We all know about Leela of Lord Ram. But we never feel bored. Correct? We know Lord Ram, we know the climax of the story. Still, if somebody says, okay, let's watch Ramayana movie now, we will still sit and watch. We never feel bored. So in the association of devotees only you can relish like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, first point he mentions is that this bhakti can be practiced only in the association of devotees. Without that association, alone if we try to do, we will come into wrong conclusion. In fact, before coming to ISKCON, that was our experience. Each one of us, it's not that we didn't know about Krishna, we didn't know about spirituality. All of us have our own background, whichever religion, faith, country we come from. But we never felt that there was a clear guidance or there is a clarity of our mind about this is the goal and this is the path I'm gonna walk and this is what I hope to attain. There was no clear-cut guidance until we came in contact with Prabhupada's books. Then here the guidance is very clear. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he goes to South India, and when he comes to a place, Udupi, it's a beautiful place. Even now you can see the different temples established by Madhvacharya. They do deity worship so perfectly, so meticulously, so much detail they go through. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there, he comes across a group of Tattvavadis. Tattvavadis means they study a lot of Shastras and they discuss about Shastri conclusions. And he asks them, what is the goal of life? And what is the process to go and attain that goal of life? Two questions he asks. What is the destination and how to go to the destination? They say the goal of life is to go back to Vaikuntha. And the process by which you can go to Vaikuntha is by practicing Varnashrama system, which means you just follow your duties, whatever your material duties are, social duties are. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastises them. You are calling yourselves as Tattvavadis, you don't even know the basic truth. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, goal of life is Krishna Prema, not going back to spiritual world. That will happen. But goal of life is Krishna Prema, to develop that love which we have deep in the core of our heart, which we are very forgetful of at this point. So the goal of life is to revive that. The goal of life is to attain that Krishna Prema again, which has been lost for some time. So this is the goal of life. And what is the process by which we are going to attain that goal of life? We are going to attain by doing devotional service. So the destination is to become a devotee of Krishna. And how to become a devotee of Krishna? By doing some seva, by doing some devotional service. Even me talking about Krishna, this is devotional service. You hearing about Krishna, devotional service. Coming to temple, devotional service. Praying to the Lord, devotional service. Taking Charanamrita. Chanting the holy name of the Lord. Anything and everything that is connected with Krishna is devotional service. 9 different processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. We hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, remember Krishna, so on and so forth. In this way, we can stay in connection with Krishna by so many different means. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this is the process. If we simply somehow or other stay connected with Krishna, then at the end of this life we will go back to spiritual world. But most importantly, before end of this life, we would have developed that love for Krishna. So association is very important. If you take even Vedic stories, I'll touch on a couple of stories where we can see what if scenario. What if scenario means a story panned out in a certain way. Story means it's a history, real story. Real history. But with and without association, you can see how big a difference it would have made. There is a story of Bharat Maharaj. He was a great king. And then when he crosses 50, he hands over the kingdom to his descendants, his sons. And then he goes to the forest. And there he sees a mother deer giving birth to a baby deer, and the mother deer dies shortly after that. And because he was a king, it was his natural inclination to protect. Prabhupada says praja, that's the word that's used for citizen. Generally we think praja means only humans. Praja means he or she or it, if you like, whatever that has taken birth in the kingdom. That's what it means. Which means what? It includes all the 8.4 million species, not just humans. Praja. Pradesh, they are, that means the kingdom. Ja means to take birth. Whoever has taken birth in the kingdom. Prabhupada explains it like that in one purport. They are the responsibility of the king. So the king would take care of plants, animals. There is even a story of a dog coming and ringing the bell for justice in the court of Lord Ram. Lord Ram had one bell hanging just outside the entrance of his palace. Whoever has any problem, they can go ring the bell. So every day, Lord Ram would send his ministers, just go and see if anyone is standing there for justice. They went out, nobody is there. First day, second day, third day. Then whenever Lord Ram would ask, they would tell, my Lord, the law and order situation in your kingdom is so perfect, nobody has any trouble. So one day morning, Lord Ram says, go out and see if somebody is standing there for justice. They go out, they see no one, come back and report to Lord Ram. Lord Ram responds back saying, no, there is a dog waiting. Then they go out, much to their surprise, they see a dog. And then Lord Ram says, bring the dog in. Then the dog comes. And Lord Ram asks, do you have any problem? Then much to everyone's surprise, the dog started to talk. And the dog says, yes, my Lord. There was a Brahmana who beat me with a stick unnecessarily. I want justice. So the Lord Ram summons the Brahmana. And the Brahmana admits his mistake. He says, yes, my Lord, I was preoccupied with some trouble. Because of that, when I came across this dog who was crossing my path, I just vented out my anger. So then Lord Ram looks at the dog and he says, as you can see, the Brahmana is admitting his mistake. Can you suggest What would pacify you? What punishment should we give this Brahmana? Yes, he shouldn't have done, but he has. So now let us try to resolve this situation. So then Lord Ram, when he asks the dog says, my lord, not far from your palace, there is a mata, there is a spiritual organization. Please make this Brahmana as the head of that organization. Then everyone gets surprised. Is that a punishment? You make a Brahmana who's the perpetrator, who admits his mistake, and you make him as the head of an organization. Then dog says, no, let me tell you what will happen once he becomes the head of that. So he goes, becomes the head of the mutt. After that, everyone would start to worship him, adore him. Because of that, pride would go to his head. He will start to mistreat people. Because of that, he would get the curses of others. Then he will glide down to animal form. Then Lord Ram asks, how can you be so sure? He says, I was the previous head of that organization. So, king's duty is to take care of every living entity who took birth in that kingdom. That is a king's duty. So we have to keep that in mind. Vedic times, leadership means it's for everyone. It's for plants, it's for animals, it's for birds. Not just for what to speak of humans. Of course, it has to be for humans. So when Bharat Maharaj comes across this deer, he takes care of the deer, baby deer. Slowly the deer grows. But his attachment, which came out of his duty of care, also started to grow. So much so that 24/7, instead of thinking about Krishna, which is the purpose why he went to the forest, he started thinking about the deer, meditating on the deer. And finally, one day when he was about to quit the body, he quit the body thinking about what will happen to the deer. Because that was the final thought he had. Guess what he was born as in his next life? As a deer. I told you what if scenario. Let us assume Bharat Maharaj had one other person to associate with. First day when he was associating too close to the deer, the person would have warned him straight away, correct? Bharat Prabhu or Bharat Maharaj, it's actually not good. Situation would have completely changed. Of course, Bharat Maharaj's Leela, Krishna performed. It's not that Bharat Maharaj was weak. He was good, but Krishna used him to teach us a great lesson. Otherwise, Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee. Just like how Krishna put Pandavas through. It's not like Yudhishthir Maharaj didn't know about the ill effects of gambling. But Krishna wanted to teach the whole world through his pure devotees. Like that, Bharat Maharaj, he put him in a situation to teach to the whole world. Likewise, in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we also see Ajamila. How he was a very dutiful Brahmana. But then one day when he goes to the forest to pick wood, to come and perform Homa, along the way he sees a man and a woman embracing. Because of that, he got lusty, he got distracted, threw away the wood, went after that lady, and then he completely went astray. Pretty much for most of his life. Same, if only instead of going to pick the wood alone, if he had association of one other devotee, the devotee would have warned him. Ajamal Prabhu, let's focus on our seva. That's why Sangha is very important. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here he says, by the process of hearing and chanting, we can pour the water to the seed. But if we are not careful, then instead of nourishing the seed of Bhakti Lata, we would end up nourishing the weeds that grow around. If you have experience with gardening, you would know. The plant that you are trying to care for so much, they would usually grow very slow, but the weeds grow very fast. You would pour water, weeds actually take away. all the energy. So in the process of bhakti also, we are chanting, we are hearing about Krishna, we are doing devotional service. But if we are not consciously doing our service properly, if we are not cautious enough, then instead of watering our bhakti, we can water the weeds, which are broadly classified into two. One is the weeds of material desires, and second one is the weeds of liberation. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atta Eva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Shakaliya Shanta. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama. Kama means desire, Nishkama means no desire, no material desire. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atta Eva Shanta, which means a devotee of Krishna doesn't have any material desire. Because of that, Shakali Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atta Eva Shanta. Because of that, Krishna's devotees are Shanta, very peaceful. No material desire, therefore they are peaceful. On the other hand, if you take Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi Kami, people who have desires to enjoy material things, people who desire to attain some Siddhi, I want to float in air, I want to fly, I want to become bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, so on and so forth. 8 different types of Siddhis are there. If one is desiring material things or one is desiring all these mystical perfections, Ashtasiddhis, or Bhukti, Mukti, one who is desiring liberation also. These 3 types of desires, if one have, Shakali Ashanta, one will always be very disturbed. One can never be peaceful. So here, weeds, they are broadly classified into material desires and desire for liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes more deeper to identify 6 different types of weeds. Nisiddhachara, Kutinati, Jiva Himsana, Labha, Puja, Pratistadi, Upashakagana. Nisiddha Achara. Achara means behavior. Siddha Achara means perfect behavior. Siddhi means perfection. Siddha Achara means perfect behavior. Nisiddha Achara means opposite of that. Bad behavior. That's what it means. Nisiddha Acharya. Achara. Nisiddha Achara means bad behavior. Nisiddha Achara. Kutinati. Kutinati means duplicity. You say something nicely in people's face, but then you actually don't intend that. How are you doing? I hope not so good. Like that you think. That's duplicity, diplomacy. Nisiddhachara, Kutinati, Jiva Himsana. Jiva Himsa means harming other jivas. Nisiddhachara, Kutinati, Jiva Himsana. Labha, mundane profiteering. Some material desires you want. Puja, mundane adoration. Somebody you expect, oh, I want people to glorify me, that I am such and such great person. Labha, puja, pratistadi. Pratistha means mundane importance. You focus on things which are actually not so important. So these are the 6 different types of weeds. If you read the purport which Srila Prabhupada has given, this 19th chapter of Madhya Leela, Prabhupada elaborates on each one of them. Nisiddhachara. How can we kill this weed? By following the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. If we give up these 4 then Prabhupada says, then such a behavior is very conducive for practicing bhakti. We simply can't do whatever we like and expect ourselves to be devotional, expect ourselves to be spiritually inclined. Now, where do these principles come from? They come from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Puran, scriptures, many different scriptures, they talk about the 4 regulative principles. Dyutam Panam Striyashuna Yatra Adharma Chaturvida. These are the 4 regulative principles. It's in Srimad Bhagavatam. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. If one practices all of this, no meat eating, including fish, including eggs. Recently, one devotee wrote to a non-alcoholic beverage company asking, because these days whatever drink that comes, even though it's advertised as a juice, you still have to read the fine print. So he read a disturbing report about a particular drink which is generally considered vegetarian. It's a juice. Still, he wrote, just to be 100% sure. So he wrote to them, to the company, asking that these are the ingredients and I hope this is vegetarian. This is vegan. And the response he got from the company shocked him. He forwarded it to me. When I read that, I almost had a heart attack. He's asking, is this juice vegan? They are responding back saying, sorry, unfortunately, because of the change in how we process this juice, we have to use egg whites while processing this juice. So, because of that, this juice is no longer considered vegan, but only vegetarian. When did egg become vegetarian? And why do you need egg to process this? Yogurt, flavored yogurt especially, you have to be very, very mindful. Almost, or most of the brands, they use beef fat. You read, it's just yogurt, but they use flavored yogurt. Read the fine print there in the ingredients, you will see. Cookies, which you will find in supermarkets, they have beef fat in it. Candies, they have animal products in it. When there is no need to add that, they add everything. Correct. Everything. So we have to be very, very mindful what we feed our kids, what we feed ourselves. We have to be very, very mindful there. So 4 regulative principles. Even if you try to strictly follow, in Kali Yuga you have to be extra careful. You may think, I'm just taking supermarket juice. Remember, it's no longer vegan, it's vegetarian, meaning it can even have eggs. So we have to be very, very mindful. So, Siddha Achara, perfect behavior means when we follow these 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex life outside of one's marriage is considered illicit. So if one practices this, Prabhupada says, then that is in favor of one's practice of Krishna consciousness. Nisiddhachara. Kutinati. Kutinati means diplomatic or duplicitous behavior. Our speech has to be straightforward. Speech has to be truthful. It has to be beneficial. It should not disturb others. Most important, it should not be duplicitous. It should be honest. There has to be integrity in our behavior. Honesty means that what we come across, that's exactly what we should mean. It's not that we put up an image in front of others, but deep inside we actually don't mean it, and we have a second face there. That is it may be good in terms of cheating other people. It will still come and disturb. Prabhupada says such a behavior is not good for one's soul. It is also not good for one's body and mind. It's not good. You will never feel good cheating others. It may help you go past one particular situation maybe. But you will carry the karmic seed, the consequence, even the so-called happiness will go away from us. So we have to be very, very mindful. So that's what Kutinati. Kutinati means diplomatic or duplicitous behavior. Duplicity means there is like two. There is no integrity. You feel something and you say something. You feel something and you act in different way to cheat other people. So that's the second weed. Third weed, Jiva Himsana. Jiva means the soul. Himsa means to harm the soul. Direct way of understanding this instruction is, okay, you have to be vegetarian. Don't kill animals. That's correct. A more deeper way of understanding, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada says, if anyone obstructs the path in the journey of a soul towards Krishna, then such a person is considered to be doing Jiva Himsa. You are harming the soul. Krishna himself uses this analogy. Nirdeha madhyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadaram mayanukulena nabasvateritam puman bhavabdim nastaretsa atmaha. Krishna says in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Body can be slain, soul can never be killed. But same Krishna in Uddhava Gita says, this body is considered to be a ship. The ocean of material existence or the existence is known as Bhava Sagar. This is the ocean and this body is the ship. The captain of this ship is Guru. Guru Karnadaram. Karnadara is the captain. Guru is the captain of the ship. Ship is the body. Guru is the captain of the ship. My instructions which I have given in the Shastra, they are like the favorable winds that will steer the ship towards its destination. If despite me giving you a body which is the ship, despite me giving you, sending a guru your way who is the captain of the ship, despite me giving you favorable winds, Puman bhavabdim nataretsa atmaha. If one doesn't take advantage of this property and don't pursue this path of bhakti, such a person is considered, Puman means humans. Puman bhavabdim nataret. If one doesn't take advantage of this, such a person is atmaha, killer of the soul. Even though soul cannot be killed, the context of Krishna using Atmaha means one is stopping or impeding the progress of the soul towards Krishna. So Jiva Himsana, Prabhupada says, it also includes pseudo-spiritual organizations or pseudo-spiritualists who preach material knowledge in the name of spirituality. Such a person, instead of helping the soul, they are actually misdirecting the soul, misguiding the soul. Imagine if I ask you, tell me how to go to Parramatta. You can give me two answers. One is, sorry, I don't know the direction, which is fine. I can go and ask someone else who knows. But if you say, Parramatta, I know, and you point towards the south, towards Liverpool. Yes, you have helped, did you? You have misled, you have provided some guidance. But rather than doing favor to me, you have made my life difficult. Does that make sense? Even if you didn't Give me an answer, I would have gone around asking, or I could have figured it out myself, at least. But when you give a wrong information, rather than it taking me close to Paramata, it took me actually away from Paramata. That's the danger. So, Jiva Himsana, impeding doesn't mean you just stop the progress. Impeding also means misdirecting. You change the direction and send people in the opposite direction. That's even bigger problem. Because now people will be convinced, I am practicing spirituality, but actually they are not. So Prabhupada highlights that point, that in Kali Yuga especially, when people give this quasi-pseudo information based on their speculation, then Prabhupada says they are also considered to be killers of soul. Kutinati, Jiva Himsana, Labha, Puja, Pratistadi. When we practice bhakti, it is true, you will get other benefits. One may become rich. One may become very scholarly. One may feel that I am a good singer. Fine. These are all mercy of the Lord, these skills we can take and use it in His service. To engage. Use it in the service of the Lord to inspire others also to take up bhakti. Perfectly fine. In fact, that's the proper usage. But if one takes these qualities thinking, look at me, how great I am. I need to have more followers. I need to have more fan following. I become the center. Then that is not conducive for one's bhakti. That is considered as a weed. It is growth, but growth of the wrong plant. That's what it means. Now weeds, we may think, what's the harm? If I pour water, my bhakti grows, let it grow. Let the weeds also grow. We can show wrong sentiment. Why kill the weeds? There is one problem with not killing the weeds, and that is they will start to sap out the energy which was meant for nourishing the main plant. So you allow the weeds to be there, weeds won't sit there innocently. Instead, they actually take away the nutrients that were meant for nourishing the main plant. That is the risk. In fact, the more stronger it grows, weeds grow, more the main plant will grow weaker. That is the problem. So we can't ignore the weeds. Labha, puja, again, somebody adoring. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Ramananda Roy, who is the most famous person in this world? Ramananda Roy, without waiting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to finish the question, he says, devotees of the Lord. They are the most famous. Who is Hanuman? Correct. You know how many millions of years Hanuman came? Arjuna, 5,000 years ago. By the way, Arjuna's birthday is on Gaura Purnima. Arjuna was born on the full moon day of Falguni Masa. That's why one of Arjuna's name is Falguni. Arjuna has 10 names. Arjuna himself says that. Because I was born on the full moon of Falguna month, my father calls me Falguni. So Arjuna shares the birthday with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Remember to wish him. I wished him this year. So, devotees are the most famous personalities in the whole world. Jatayu, Yashoda Maharani. You take any devotee of the Lord, you will never think, oh, they used to be famous in those days. And now they lost popularity. You will never come across a devotee like that. Ajamila was a devotee who appeared eons ago before Shukadeva Goswami. Agastya Muni, we remember. Brahma, we still remember. There cannot be anyone earlier than Brahma. I think that proves the point. Devotees are the most famous. So adoration will be there. When we practice bhakti, there will be devotees who will feel inspired by us practicing bhakti, by us sharing this knowledge with others. But we should not get carried away because this is just a weed. One of my teachers would always tell us, when somebody comes to us and glorify us, we should remember it's from that devotee's lips to Krishna's ears. That's all. We should not be hearing ourselves. It's between that devotee's lips to Krishna's ears, not us. Krishna engages us. We know who we are. We know how unqualified we are. When we go close to a lamp, it is natural for the effulgence of the lamp to hit our face, and because of that effulgence, reflection of that, we look a little bright. You blow the candle off, there will be darkness again. Understand? That's our potency. So we have to understand, reason why we look bright is not an inherent potency. Reason why we look bright is because of our proximity to Krishna. Krishna, Surya Sama. Maya hai andakar, yahan Krishna taha nahi maya adhikar. Krishna is like the sun. So the more close you go to the sun, natural that you will look bright. But that brightness is, we should not think that that belongs to us. This is just borrowed light. That's all. So our focus has to be serving the Lord. Other things may be there. If somebody feels inspired by us, so be it. We can only feel grateful. Such an unqualified, lowly person that I am, I know myself. But look at the mercy of Krishna, look at the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, look at the mercy of our gurus. They have taken someone so useless as me, still made some use, some valuable use out of me. So we can feel grateful for that. That's all we can feel. Remember, it's from the person who is glorifying, that person's lips to Krishna's ears. We should not hear that. So Labha, Puja, Pratistadi, again, importance, mundane importance. When we go to a class, irrespective of whoever who gives, we should still sit and hear. It's not that that person is good, this person is bad. This person I like, that person I don't like. Just like a postman delivering message. You may not like the postman, but you would still like the money order, correct? The message which the postman is delivering. So, whichever person that gives, because the message is coming from Krishna. Krishna is speaking through the speakers. Krishna is delivering me something through the postman. So, when we sit in Vyasasana and speak, we are just postmen. As speakers, we need to be clear. When we sit and hear, we also need to understand the message. Yes, this Prabhuji or Mataji is giving, but actual message is coming from Krishna. So, these are the 6 weeds which one should be very careful about. How can one fence oneself around? Last week we were discussing about offending devotees. 3 different types of how we can do aparad. We can do aparad by deha, physically, vak, verbally, buddhi, mentally. By our thought, word and deed, we can offend others, and one should protect oneself. And that types of aparad is considered to be mad elephant offense. Hati mata, it means. Just like if you have a plantation, let's say a banana plantation, and you let loose a mad elephant. You know what they'll do? They'll ransack the whole place, and within no time you'll be left with nothing. So how can one protect oneself from offending others? By having a strong fence of association of devotees, sadhu sangha. When we are in the association of devotees, we will always try to behave nicely. At least to put up a show. That is good for a start. I remember one devotee who used to give classes. Here, he is not here. He used to always tell me, fake it until you feel it, like that. Remember, We may not be pure devotees, but at least try to be one. Try, over a period of time, we will be able to slowly get rid of bad qualities. Because Krishna is seated within our heart. When one gives up everything and surrenders to Krishna, swapada moolam bhajata priyasya, taktonya bhavasya hari paresha, vikarma echot katitam patanchit, dunoti sarvam hridisannivista. Dunoti sarvam. When one gives up everything and surrenders oneself to Krishna, swapada moolam. Surrendering to swapada moolam means the lotus feet of the Lord. If one gives up tyakta anya, tyakta means to give up anya, one has given up everything and taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Vikarma yachot. Despite one giving up everything and surrendering to the Lord, because of some old habits, even if one does accidentally some mistake, Krishna seated within one's heart will burn out the reactions instantly. In fact, as soon as a sinful thought comes, Krishna will immediately burn out. How many of you would like Krishna to help you like that? First we have to surrender. We are in the process of surrendering. If we take shelter, then sin will not touch us. Why? Krishna seated within one's heart. Dunoti sarvam hridisannivista. When some sinful action you do, it starts with a thought only. Thought within our heart. I want to do that sin. We may not admit, but already desire is going on. But if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna would be seated in our heart. He will dunoti sarvam hridisannivista. He will immediately destroy. How soon? As soon as the seed comes, he'll destroy. It's just like, you drop something, even before the thing touches the floor, it burns into ashes, vanishes in thin air. It's like that. Seed comes, goes. Seed comes, goes. Krishna gives one analogy to the gopis about how he helps devotees. Krishna says, just like how a seed of a plant, if you sow in the ground, it would sprout. But the same seed, if you put it on a pan, dry roast it, now you try to sow it on the ground, it won't grow anymore. So Krishna says, just like how a roasted seed loses its potency to germinate, similarly, whoever who takes my shelter, all their desires will get roasted. Meaning what? No sin will actually touch my devotees. That's what it means. So if one takes up all this precaution, then when one waters such a plant with all these precautions, with the fence of association, one avoids the aparadha of gurus, aparadha of devotees, aparadha in one of these three or all the three, deha, vak, buddhi. And when one uproots all the unwanted creepers, carefully protecting the bhakti lata or the seed of bhakti, the creeper of bhakti, with pure hearing and chanting, then such a plant, such a creeper would stay healthy and it will take shelter of the kalpa vriksha of the Lord's lotus feet. Kalpa vriksha means desire fulfilling tree of Radha Gopinath's lotus feet. And by continuously watering such a plant, one day the plant would give the fruit, prema phala. When that fruit is there at the lotus feet of the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, then the jiva can taste the juice of that fruit. And finally, in this section, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concludes by comparing the joy or the happiness which one gets by tasting that prema phala, that love of Godhead, fruit of love of Godhead, with normal mundane pleasures. He says, whatever perfection, whatever happiness which one gets by fulfillment of all material desires. You take any kind of material desire, You want to earn so much, you want to have a big house, you want to have everything. You want World Cup. Yes, there will be joy for what? How long? 3 days? When people actually bombard reels and everything, happiness is there. Definitely we want our countries to win. No doubt. Secretly we desire. So it is good. But we also need to understand about futility. Now people talk about Olympic gold in Los Angeles. Okay, because material happiness, there is no end to it. It is true there is a certain level of happiness. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here, he compares. What is this material happiness compared to the joy which one gets by tasting Krishna Prema? He says great material perfections like the siddhis, the Brahmanical perfections, the trance of the yogis and monastic bliss of Brahman all seem wonderful as long as the pure love of Krishna that acts as a perfect medicinal herb for controlling doesn't manifest even a slightest fragrance within. What it means is, if one is enjoying material achievements or material happiness, that is a sign that love of Godhead hasn't sprouted yet. That's what it means. So, distaste for material enjoyment and taste for Krishna Prema, it's like a sliding scale. The more one is enjoying this side, the less you will enjoy in the other side. So the more material enjoyments disturb us, to that extent our bhakti, taste for bhakti will go low. I once asked this question to His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj when I was doing my Bhakti Shastri course in Mayapur, 2012. I asked Maharaj that I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm chanting 16 rounds, I've taken Diksha, I'm practicing Bhakti, I'm happy. But my mind says, what's the harm in also tasting material happiness? I'm practicing Bhakti, I'm not compromising here. Might as well at the same time let me enjoy materially as well. I'm not saying no to Bhakti, I'm not saying I will not do it. I will still do it. I'll follow all the principles, I'll do everything. But in addition to that, I'll also do material enjoyments. This is where most of us we fallen. When I raised that, Maharaj gave a very interesting answer. He said, you see, what you say may superficially look very innocent, but if you go a little deeper and analyze this, you will understand. You have only certain amount of time. You have only certain amount of energy left in you. If you take X amount of energy from your pool of energy for your material pursuits, you are gonna lose that X amount from your repository that will actually help you fuel your spiritual engine. That really struck me. I thought like, okay, we are talking as if, because mind won't let us think. That's why we need association of devotees. Because mind thinks that we have unlimited time, we have unlimited energy, but that's not true. Materialistic enjoyment is like that. Materialistic enjoyment will take away our time. It will take away our money. It will force us to lose sleep. It will force us to sacrifice so many things. All the while telling just this much, give up all of this and then you can achieve this. So you give up everything and you achieve. The problem is, even after achieving material happiness, it will look mundane. We recently won World Cup in India. We don't feel the joy as much as we did on when? Monday morning, Tuesday morning? Where is it gone? Same is with our birthdays. Wow, birthday or New Year or long weekend. How long can it last? So with material enjoyments, we should always think, how long can it satisfy me? How much can it satisfy me? Mind will never let us think. Mind will always say, what's the harm? Try this, enjoy that also. But actually it's not possible. Once one reporter asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, who's most qualified to go to spiritual world after they die? And Prabhupada was walking to a class. And then Prabhupada briefly stopped and he says, one who is most disgusted with this material world. And then Prabhupada kept walking. So, scriptures don't paint the negative picture about material world. That doesn't mean we have to suffer materially. This one doesn't mean we should be materially unsuccessful. That's not the point. We understand that, yes, we need to be in a comfortable position. We need to be in a materially secure position. Definitely, yes. But that pursuit of material achievements should not be at the cost of our spiritual progress. That's the whole point. As long as we can balance, and that will vary. This is one mistake devotees also do. Sometimes you will see some devotee couples or families, they are rich. Both husband and wife are working. They may even have multi-million-dollar home. But then if one other couple thinks, just like how they are doing, we will also do. But then questions or considerations that one needs to take is my capacity same as the others? Point number one. Point number two, for their capacity, they may be able to be successful materially, going full on, as well as spiritually. Can I? Third thing which we usually tend to overlook is, what about my karma and what about their karma? There is a certain influence which our karma also has. Their karma in the past may be such way that they have to be very rich in this life. But if my karma in my past is, no matter how much I try, I have to be poor. So we should never compare ourselves with others. And we should never get distracted. This is the reason why we need guidance. Remember, creeper, it's not a tree. That's why we need guidance. That's why we need mentoring. That's why we need association of devotees. Then we can discuss it with some other senior devotees, Prabhuji or Mataji. This is what I feel inspired by that couple. Can I also become like that? Then somebody can actually tell us, that's okay, they are able to do, are you able to do? If not, then you see whatever that is good for you. Everyone's capacity is different. Krishna wants us not to compete with anyone. Krishna wants us to be the best person that we can possibly be. So each one of us, we can try to better ourselves. We know our challenge. We know how much we can scale. That's what we should be constantly working on to improve ourselves. But comparing with others, that comes under Nisidachara, Kutinati, Jiva Himsana, Labha, Puja, Pratistha. Pratistha is mundane importance. Comes under mundane importance. Again, it's a weed. Yes. You got $4 million home, I have $5 million home. So what? Your mortgage is going to be bigger. What's there to be more proud of there? So we have to be very, very mindful that I can materially be successful to the extent that it doesn't come between me and Krishna. To the extent that I can balance these two, no problem. To that extent I can go. But remember the sliding scale. The more I'm going to spend my energy in my material achievements, in my materialistic pursuits, to that extent, my time, my resources, my energy is gonna be taken away from my disposal, stopping me from using the same energy towards my spiritual goals. I'll stop here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the next section, he will be discussing about pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti. We'll continue next week. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Sri Sri Gauranitai ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.